To recognize the member for Fort Saskatchewan-Vegreville.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm honoured to rise today to speak in favour of Motion 524, which reads, "Be it resolved that the Legislative Assembly urge the Government to recognise the important work of rural veterinarians and explore ways to increase the number of veterinarians serving rural communities." I want to thank my friend and esteemed colleague, the Honourable Member for Camrose constituency, for bringing this motion to the floor of the Assembly, where I have an opportunity to thank the veterinary professionals and speak of the importance of veterinary medicine to Alberta, especially to rural Alberta. Madam Speaker, on November 22nd, 2021, this Assembly passed Private Member Motion 522 as presented by the Honourable Member by Brooks Medicine Hat. The motion reads as follows. Be it resolved that the Legislative Assembly recognize the critical role of agriculture in Alberta's economy and urge the Government to take steps to ensure that Alberta's agriculture and agri-food industries are essential components of the economic recovery plan in response to the COVID. Sorry.
Are you speaking to the motion 524? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Carry on. I apologize.
Just a little preamble here. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, we cannot speak to the importance of the agriculture sector in Alberta and economic recovery in response to the COVID-19 pandemic without speaking to the importance of veterinarians and their clinical teams in Alberta. As a rural MLA, agriculture is foundational to my constituency of Fort Saskatchewan-Vegreville. Farmers and ranchers are the backbone of my constituency, with many family farms being generational. Livestock and animals are critical parts of the lives and livelihoods of these families. Cow-calf production, dairy production, equine, bovine, poultry, sheep, and bee producers rely on veterinarians to provide ongoing health services for their livestock and their farm animals. Veterinarians are a critical part of keeping the producers in my constituency not only operational, but veterinarians in Alberta are critical to keeping Alberta producers the best in the world. They are instrumental to disease surveillance and management in our agricultural livestock sectors. We will not have economic recovery and growth without sufficient veterinary care. Madam Speaker, veterinarians are also the cornerstone of cultural events in my constituency. Our agricultural societies host a variety of events throughout the villages, towns, and communities in my constituency and across Alberta. These events frequently include animals and include events such as equine shows and clinics, agricultural seminars and clinics, such as calving clinics, and the entertainment events such as chuck wagon races and rodeos. These events are important in our communities as they foster tourism and economic prosperity of our smaller communities. Veterinarians are critical to the success of these events. There is no rodeo, including the Calgary Stampede, no 4-H, no horse event in Alberta without the veterinarian playing an essential role in the care of these animals. We will not have the important cultural, educational, and community connection events in rural Alberta without sufficient veterinary care. Without these events, our economic and community recovery will be stalled. Mr. Speaker, veterinarians serve as an essential role ensuring our family pets are taken care of. The COVID-19 pandemic has surged demand for companion animals in Alberta. It is impossible not to know someone who has acquired a new puppy or kitten over the last 18 months. Veterinarians are critical to keeping these animals healthy while ensuring their owners are educated on nutrition, exercise, oral health, and socialization. We know that our pets are important to us, and we know that veterinary care ensures a healthy animal that will keep families and communities healthy too. We will not have healthy pets and healthy communities without sufficient veterinary care. Mr. Speaker, I also want to take this opportunity to thank veterinarians, veterinary technologists, and all veterinary clinical staff for their ongoing service to Alberta's animals and their owners during the COVID-19 pandemic. There have been many challenges, such as securing PPE while managing changing protocols at the clinics, that have been hard on the veterinary clinic staff, the animals, and their owners. Increased owner demands, coupled with shortages of rural veterinarians and veterinary technologists, have placed significant pressure on our veterinary professionals. Still, these professionals have remained vigilant and committed to treating our animals and assisting the owners through the best and worst of times. Veterinarians and veterinary technologists are healthcare workers that deserve our thanks. They also need our help. Mr. Speaker, veterinary medicine contributes over $1 billion to Alberta's GDP from direct, indirect, and induced impacts. The direct GDP generated from operations of veterinary practices is estimated to be $582 million. This is approximately 17% of the GDP contribution of tourism spending in Alberta in 2019 and 13% of the GDP contribution of the crop and animal production industry in 2018. The economic impact of this profession is massive to our critical to our economic recovery. Mr. Speaker, we cannot afford to leave veterinary professionals to manage with the workforce shortages they are currently facing. Alberta has a shortage of veterinary professionals. Over 370 vacancies exist in Alberta today, with a significant portion of these vacancies located in rural Alberta. If we take no action, that number will continue to rise. This will cause a severe economic and health crisis in my constituency and in Alberta overall. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank all the Alberta Veterinary Medical Association, the Alberta Veterinary Technologists Association, the rural municipalities, producer organizations, post-secondary institutions, constituents, and veterinarians, along with the Minister of Labour and Immigration and the current Minister of Health, for working together to address the shortages in our rural communities. Solutions are not easy as we face a global shortage of veterinarians, but Alberta-made solutions are necessary. Our rural communities, our industrious veterinary professionals, our Alberta agriculture sectors, and Albertans need to work for solutions including investment in our post-secondary and animal science programs. Mr. Speaker, veterinarians are critical to our current agriculture sector and to future opportunities in this foundational sector. Veterinarians are critical to the sustainability of our rural communities and our rural way of life. I am pleased to support this motion and look forward to working to find solutions that will increase the number of rural veterinarians in Fort Saskatchewan, Vegreville, and in all rural communities in Alberta. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.